welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. Pernilla Burke from the US, the creator and the founder of Awakening 101, a spiritual library for everyone. Even if you are a practitioner in the spiritual journey, or if you're completely new to this is just a true gift to the human being, I would say. And me, Louise Jules Severin, here in Denmark, yoga teacher and a Buddhist practitioner, doing these interviews with Pernilla, and where we're talking about the daily life and how we can use our, how could we say it? Our
awareness,
or
how we're our inner selves to find moments of awakening that open us up to ourselves.
Love that. That's beautiful. So if you haven't joined us before, well, thanks for the people joining us again. And if you're new to this, this is podcast number 5. And of course, you can tap into the ones before, but they are all self-contained. But should we do a little short introduction, Pernilla?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the fun part, right? Who are you?
Who are you?
I don't really know who I am. I'm this person in the world. No, but my name is Pernilla Burke, and I am the creator and founder and photographer of Awakening 101, which is, like Louise said, it's like a spiritual library, which has it has resources, spiritual resources, and it's combined by my personal blogs, which like sort of detail the journey of my life and the transformation that I've gone through from childhood to now. And it's a spiritual journey, and it is for everyone. And Louise and I are here because we want to show that, this is our path, but we want to share it with you because we discovered a lot of things through our journeys. And it's the natural thing to do, it feels like, to just sort of see if we can give back and show you that it's for everyone if you choose to take that path. Awakening can be found in everyday life, and it's just a perception or the way that you see things that come along, that you can slightly shift your awareness and find the discoveries in your everyday life. So that wasn't really about me, was it?
No, but you're very good at coming around, but we're going to get back to you during this journey. So,
yeah.
So that's okay. But I also want to say that we are best friends. We've known each other since we were 4 years old. And now Pernilla is in the US. I'm in Denmark, but we both comes from Sweden. And we are brought up in Sweden. But I want to I actually want to tap in directly to what you have said, because if I'm new to this, why would I like to be more awake or more aware? What is that? Why? But why?
Why? Okay. So the first thing that I have to say about that is that I believe that most of us go through life with a question, which is why? Why are we here? What's the purpose of all this? Yeah, we have, most of us have, like, okay, we have to work, we have to feed ourselves, we have children, we have to feed them, we have to take, that's like sort of like the sort of daily routine of a human being. You have to eat, sleep, have kids, blah, blah, blah. But I think since human beings are so evolved emotionally, spiritually, mentally, we always have a question. What is it? What is it that can satisfy this sort of drive, this inner drive that I have for something like answers or something else, right? And some people just have it. They're people that might just be naturally present or naturally satisfied. And I feel like there's a lot of Swedes that we have this sort of setup in Sweden where they have, it's a routine and it's sort of a safety net that make people go, oh yeah, I'm good, But I think that this is a lot of people, it's an innate thing. We want to feel present, we want to feel connected, we want to feel a sense of unconditional love to other human beings. So it's a drive that we have, and it comes naturally to us. So I mean, and maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe that's not at all how it is, and like people just don't care. But I feel like the more people I speak to, everybody has a little bit of they wish they could discover more.
Mm,
And I think that the intention of this is to maybe open people's eyes or
mm.
shift your perspective a little bit into saying, ah, okay. Oh, I learned something here that's gonna like help me find this sort of this little grain of connection to my
Mm.
soul that is really what
But
we want to begin with.
but I'm with you, and I think, but isn't it also that, you know, if, that we kind of want some inner peace with ourselves? You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
we want to be. I mean, we want to be in ease with our body, and we want to be in grace in life, which is kind of big words. But I think that, when we are becoming more awake, because I'm thinking of, you introduced me to the Holosync
Mm-hmm,
that you're also talking about in on your web page, on
mm-hmm,
website. And I think that when you talk to when we talked about that, and when you gave that to me and I listened to that, and also when I read of the books, it's I can feel that when I become more aware, I open up for more options in my life.
mm-hmm,
I'm open up for more choices, because when
mm-hmm.
I'm on this autopilot, then I don't really have any choices because I'm just going through it. But of course, some people might go through life like an autopilot and be pretty satisfied with that. But as you
Yeah.
said, I would say most of the people I have around too, I would say, except my husband. No, I'm kidding, but they do have a search. They asking, why am I here, or what can I do, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you said a lot of things there. So I'm going to try to, I think that it's sort of like in our subconscious, we know that when our mind is calm, we feel better.
Mhm.
And we know that when we are rushing around and had a stressful day, and like you had Sunday when your one son broke his toe the one day, and then your other son broke his finger the other day, you know, those stressful days, and when people you come home and you just want to shut down, you just want to
And I got the flat
eat.
tire.
Oh, and then the flat tire on Sunday. So it was a triple whammy in 3 days. So those stressful days that we come home and we don't like that. Like we know that that was a bad day, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like that's I think that we, even though we're not thinking about that, that's what's going on. Like we say good day and bad day, right? Like that's the basic thing. And so the good day is like when we have a mind that might not be is calmer, and then you have like the bad day, like broke foot, flat tire, all these things. So we are, when you talk about like awareness, and when you have that awareness, you can't really have more awareness when you're stressed, right? So when we have a calm day, we're allowed to be more aware, and we can see our surroundings, right? Like awareness is
Mhm.
sort of like a larger vision,
Spotlight,
or
yeah.
yeah, around yourself. It's not just fight or flight, moment to moment, right? We feel better,
Mhm.
right? We know that we feel better.
But isn't it,
So,
because I want to tap back into, challenges in life, like, like you mentioned here with my flat tire, and you also had Alice, my goddaughter, that felt on her skateboarding and stuff like that. But what I could feel, that when I met these challenges this past weekend,
mhm,
I had, due to my practice of awareness, I could stay more calm. I
mhm,
talked to you at the moment, and you said, be aware of how you meet these circumstances. And I think
yeah,
that was so interesting, because I could, if that would have been maybe 10 years ago, or maybe just 5 years ago, I would
mhm.
probably, have freaked out, and, it's someone's fault, and it's,
It's always
but
something. Yeah,
yeah, and now I could, I could kind of lift myself, and look at it, and and my phone, went out of battery, and I had to work for hours, and but I could be in it, and I think that was really interesting for me, because I think it was the first experience I really had where I could be calm in my mind, also in my body, and stay in that, how do you say, in that challenge, or in that dysfunction moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that I think about it, it was the third day of something chaotic, right, for you.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what happened is that on the third day, you're like, okay, what is going on? And so you had time to sort of say, you're like programming yourself to meet a challenge throughout those 3 days. Like maybe when the first day, when your son broke his, what was it? He crushed his toe.
Yeah. And we don't talk about that. Then I freaked out. That was not good. No.
So that was the first day,
Yeah.
right? Because it was like you weren't ready for it. It came out of nowhere. You had to cancel a bunch of clients, and you were pissed off, right? You're losing money, and you're stressing, and you have to call a bunch of people. So you're yelling and screaming. And then on the second day, your other son broke his finger, right? So you're like, okay, I had the freak out, it didn't work. Now I'm like, okay, well, we're going to the doctor again, and blah 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 blah. And then on the third day, it's like a joke, right?
Yeah.
So then you say, I really have no other choice right now. I'm not going to freak out because it's too much work.
Mm.
And you'd talk to me. So you're like, okay, I have a little bit of a reminder of like, well, maybe there's another way.
Mm.
So you're like, okay, well, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to not freak out and just breathe, do the in and out of the nose, and to see what happens. But yeah, I think you need to tell the story about when you found the bicycle.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is so funny. I'm telling this story, but you have also had so many moments like this. And I remember when you told me
Oh my
moments like
God.
this, and even
Oh my God.
when your husband said that, when we met up in Sweden, oh, I'm not surprised that this is happening, and that's, yeah. But I got the flat tire. I called for assistance. They
Okay,
were coming.
wait. But just this is day number 3. The kids have already been breaking.
This is day number 3. This is day number 3. So I left my daughter with the horses. I was supposed to take the car to go back, and 2 hours later I was supposed to have a client. So I take the car, I drive 20 meters, and it's a flat tire. So I parked the car, and I did, though, call my husband. I was a little bit angry because I needed to ask for the number of assistance. I wish I had it myself, but now I do have it for the next time.
Yeah, I was like, you don't have that number?
I know, but now I do. No, because before I would call him, and then he would call the assistant. But now I took responsibility. Yeah. So I called assistant, and she said that she couldn't come for up to 2 hours, and I couldn't stay there for 2 hours. So I said, I leave the key, and then you guys can just take the car, and we fix it from there. And at the moment I hang up, I start walking, I talk to you, and 2 seconds after I have talked to you, where Pernilla say, be aware of the moment, which kind of helps me, because it was raining, it was cold, and I was about to walk an hour and a half, to get home. And there was no bus, and there was no taxi come or nothing. Then my telephone dies. So the telephone dies. And I was like, okay. So that was, and it's interesting because in our previous episode, we talked about surrender. So I really said, okay, I just need to accept it. I can't, this is how it is. So I walked, and and all of a sudden it stopped raining, and I was like, okay. And I walked, and I walked, and I walked. And then I realized I'm very, very hungry. I haven't eaten, which I know you told me to eat. But then I end up at, and then I had this wonderful place called Social Foodies. And they have these very nice bread. It's an ice cream store, but they do bread too. And I was like, oh, I buy me a little piece of bread. So I was thinking of Pernilla, don't be hungry, Louise. I take the bread, okay? And then I look at my watch and I was like, I'm never gonna be in time for my client. This is impossible. You know, I still have to walk for another. It's going to take another 40 minutes or 45 minutes, and I can't call her because the phone is out of battery, and I don't have the number because it's in this. I couldn't ask someone else. You know, and then I wanted to take a shortcut where I have only walked once, which goes down to a train station. So it's, you know, it's kind of that area where you know, you don't want to walk there alone at night. You know, it's a really, you know, it's a scary area. But, you know, this is the middle of the day. And before going in there, it's like, I really need a bike. If I could just borrow a bike, everything would be fine. It's like, Louise, you can't steal a bike. But I still looked at bikes around me. And it's like, okay, they're all locked. So, you know, leave that. I walk into this little path down in the forest. And there, I mean, I can't, you know, this is like an enlightenment. This is like finding a big treasure. There it is, the blue electric bike, completely thrown in the forest with an umbrella in the back. And it was not, you know.
Oh, it had an umbrella too?
It had an umbrella on it.
Oh
So,
my God, that's so
and
awesome.
it was not a flat tire. It was not a crooked bike. So it was completely, I was like, God, this is, you know, I just gonna
So
borrow.
somebody had stolen that bike and put it on the ground.
Exactly.
Oh,
And just threw
so
it
funny.
away. So I took the bike and the brake works and I was just flying away. And I was back in my studio 10 minutes before my client came.
That is incredible. That's
I think it
incredible.
was, you know, and then I also talked to the police because now I have, you know, told them that this bike has been founded. So now the police will get it. So it will get back to its
Yeah.
owner.
So you,
So I
in
did
the
it.
end, you did something good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's the best story ever.
Yeah, but
But you know, the thing is,
I was high on that story. You know, when I you know, you hear when I called you and on the messenger, I was like, you know, this is
yeah, yeah,
now it's losing up. Now I'm
yeah.
in the rhythm, you know.
But maybe the thing is that with the surrender practice, we're back on surrender.
I love
I
it.
feel like it needs to, like, sometimes you need something bigger like that to happen for you to really start
Mm,
practicing it in a real
mm,
way. Like
mm.
something actually, like it's like almost like you saw that your attitude, your reaction
Yeah.
to this like
Mm,
disaster. You had no phone, flat tire, you're in a bad neighborhood. Well, I mean it's Denmark, so how bad
yeah,
can it
yeah,
be?
yeah.
But and you can't, you're gonna have a client that's gonna show up and he doesn't even know where you are because your phone is
Mm,
dead.
mm,
And you know that you need that money from your client too. You
mm,
know, it's like all these things were against you, but somehow you had no other choice besides
mm,
surrender. And that's David Hawkins talks about this a lot. Like you just, it's sort of you like you run other options
mm.
to try to manipulate or control your situation, which is when you, for example,
That
when
was
you freak,
happened. That's exactly what's happened now when you say
yeah,
that,
you
because
gave up.
yeah.
Yeah.
It,
So
but
like
that's
for
so interesting because, and I don't think you can force this. I think that my process has been, you know, it took me to get there, to
yeah,
experience this, because
yeah,
it is really, as you said, it's a change of attitude, and it's really, I didn't try to manipulate. I tried a little bit when I realized I needed a bike to be able to go, and I looked at the bikes where I was passing through, and I said, you know, people will look at me if I just take out that bike here, and you know,
yeah,
so I left that too.
yeah.
You know, I
But
left that option.
yeah, yeah. And the two things, like, you know, I had a moment and I wrote about this in my it's a blog about surrender that I actually, it's posted on the website, but I'm going to send it out as an email. You know, I had a moment when I had a relationship, a short relationship right before I met my husband, and it was like a disaster relationship. Um, you know, just like it was an English guy in LA, and he was so shut down, like he could not talk about his feelings, and I reacted in a way where I completely shut down. So I was like basically like a shell of myself. I couldn't talk around it because I was so afraid of showing who I was. And he also didn't know that I was in recovery, that at that time I was ashamed,
Mm,
right? I was ashamed of the fact that I was in recovery. And I had like 5 or 6 years at the time. So it was, you know, it was still so new.
mm,
But he he broke up with me. You know, we had been going out for 2 months. I mean, it was really not that big deal. And he broke up with me, and I started crying because that's how I used to deal with any sort of confrontation. Because if you cry and you yell, you're trying to manipulate, right? Clearly, you're trying to control. Like, this is how I'm going to get my way. Like little kids, you know, they don't know that they're doing that, but you know, if they don't get what they want, they get upset. And I literally cried for like, you know, a day, right? Until finally he was like, and I was so upset that he didn't want to ask me to leave, even though he already broke up with me. And then finally he was like, you have to stop. I can't take this anymore. And in that moment, I was like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm doing this because I wasn't in love with me, with me, huh? I wasn't in love with him. He wasn't in love with me. You know, we just was not a great relationship. I really felt bad throughout the whole time because of the way our energies were working. So, but that's when I was like, holy shit, I'm just doing this to try to control him. But, you know, that's a long time ago. And surrender or letting go, it's going to ebb and flow. Like you had a good experience on Sunday, like on a bike. So it's like, oh my God, the universe is on my side. They love me now. You know, I'm enlightened, you know, but it's going to ebb and flow. You're going to have many more days where you're going to be yelling and screaming at people because something happened, right? For some reason, this was a good one, but it's an opening to a different way. It's the beginning of a different way. So,
and I experienced this, you know, I experienced this in my body. You know, I got the experience, not just mentally, but, you know, the you know, I don't know how, but you know, I would explain. I got that space in my body. I got that, you know, it's the sensation of the sensation of true surrender in that moment.
Yeah, you were present.
Very.
Yeah, and that experience in your body, what did it actually feel like? Like when you say that you're experiencing it in your body, what does that actually feel like?
But I would say that that's an ease. It's a lightness. It's I would almost say I got this, you know, like a little what do you say, a particle, a little particle in air, you know. I'm in space.
Yeah, because you feel like you're now a part of the energy that is that's flowing through the universe, right? Like you're not like,
exactly,
because when we scream and manipulate or try to control things, we're actually out of sync with the flow of the universe, right? You know, it's like if you think about like the ants in an ant stack, right? They're building the ant stack, right? I don't even know if that's what it's called, myrstack in Sweden. But they're all moving in the same direction. But you humans, we're like, oh no, I'm going over here, and then it's like, you know, what the ants, they're just in flow with each other, trying to build this thing, right? And it's the same thing with birds. I always think about this. They fly in a flock. You don't see one dude who's
so
like
beautiful.
Yeah, you don't see one guy who's like over here doing his own things, but that's humans. We all do that. We're like, no, I'm gonna take care of this myself, and so we don't feel that sort of like we don't feel it in our body. Like if I were to describe, well, you know, when I'm resisting, it's definitely in the chest and in the top of the sternum, like right here, like at the very bottom of the ribs, right? Because that's the power center of the chakras.
The solar plexus,
and it gets twisted, and in the shoulders, right? You feel it in your upper body that you're trying to control. So, and the thing is that when you're actually surrendered, you don't have that tension because you're just flowing.
I think this is so interesting because this is exactly, and what I think is interesting here, what you're tapping into now, it's that the body, and everything gets in our body, and I think that if we want to be in the awakening process, we need to start to experience our body and feel.
Yeah, but when you say need to start, that's a lot, right? Like that because it's like then it's like you could say that then people might think, oh, I need to experience my body in order to be a surrendered, and that's not actually true. So
No,
it can be like that you surrender, you find moments of surrender, and then you experience your body, or more in syncness with your body. Or you could be a person, because like they're interrelated, but one doesn't come after another, and one doesn't have to be fully there for another to exist. Do you understand what I'm
no,
saying?
I understand what you say, but I just feel that, okay, now I've been practicing this Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism for 20 years. So
Yeah,
every morning and every evening I've been chanting. And of
yeah,
course, that has been my awakening process.
yeah.
But I can say that when I tapped into the yoga practice on daily basis, which I've done for since I was 18, but on daily basis when I start teaching, which is, some 6 years ago, I would say that the true change for me
Mm-hmm,
was when I could be full embodiment. I would say that when you
mm-hmm,
talked about when I become aware of the resistance, how do I experience that in my body? That's
mm-hmm.
when I know things are going on. So I mean
Yeah.
that of course I've been, it was this, I can't remember, I think his name is Mathieu Richard, but it was this French monk who became known from, he said that, the half meters from the mind to the heart is the longest distance in the
Mm-hmm.
human body sometimes,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's when you really get integrated. And that's what I think it's, my body is my temple. Wherever I travel, I'm here with myself. So even if I go on
Mm-hmm,
vacation, I end up with myself. And
mm-hmm,
when I can just identify exactly also when I have resistance, this is solar plexus, this is the shoulders, this is the throat. And what I experienced with that surrender part was that it wouldn't have been the same if I was just have it in my head. I
yeah,
got the body in it, so I
yeah,
know how
yeah,
it would
yeah,
feel when I
yeah,
in the flow of the
yeah, yeah.
of. So that's what
I
I
mean,
wanted to say.
yeah, no,
It's
but you make a lot of sense. I just don't want people to think that you have to feel surrender in your body to be able to experience surrender, right?
no, no,
Because it's like we're talking about different levels now
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
surrender.
yeah.
But for me, and I can't even remember if we talked about this before because it might be in a blog, but I got sober in 1998 and I was a total complete mess, you know. Uh, I mean, on all levels. It was, I mean, anybody who gets sober is a complete mess. I mean, it's a disaster.
Mm,
But I started yoga in my first year of recovery. And I went to yoga, like literally for a few years, I went every single day, right? Because it was the one thing. And I mean, if I look back at that time, that's exactly what I was doing.
mm,
I was trying to access something in the wisdom of my body
mm,
at the time. And it was the only, like when I laid down in Shavasana for the first time, and like it was like spring 1999, and I had a moment of peace. Like I'll never forget that. It
mm,
was like the
mm.
first time in my whole life where well, it wasn't that first time. It was like the second time in my whole life where I was like, oh shit. So that's where people come to yoga. So yes, it's and we talked about this, like being connected with your body and something like yoga is like it's like a helping hand
A
to
ticket.
find these practices. And
Mm,
that's why we go back to like yoga is in the terms of awakening 101. It's a tool,
mhm.
and that tool helps with all of the things that we are the elements of awakening. Like it helps with surrender because we are able to access the body. We are able to be more aware. We are able to be more present because we do yoga,
Mm.
right? But then again, not everybody does yoga, so it's other
No,
things,
but then I would also say that you have you have yoga and you also have breath in in that wheel that is the awakening process wheel, which I think it should be on every household door, because I think it's so it's such an easy, it's such a clear and easy way of helping you to become awake, you know, and we you know, we touched through most of them, and we will continue to, you know, dig deeper down.
Yeah.
Dig. But saying also, you know, as a yoga teacher, I mean, yoga, what, you know, it's just not the asanas, it's the whole, you know, the yoga is also the philosophy around it. And you mentioned breath is also, I mean, you know, I'm actually going tonight to this breath work workshop. I'm so excited. But I mean, I would never start doing, you know, when I have my stress coaching sessions, I would never start breath work with someone who had one day in recovery. You know, that would be completely, you know, insane. Yeah, or someone who is just also broken down in depression or stress. You can't do that either. But of course, these are things that you know, if you don't really know where to start, maybe you could, you know, start to, you know, to just be a little bit familiar with breath and yoga, as you have, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the like, if you are that person, you have one day sober, or you're coming out of depression, the most powerful thing I think for to do there, which work and won't overwhelm people, are the connecting with nature. You know, and like for me, what I would do, because I moved from New York to LA when I had 18 days sober. Thankfully, I did that, because if I'd stayed in New York, I don't think I would have stayed sober. But so when I got to LA, I lived in Hollywood, but I would take my car and drive to Venice Beach and just like, to sit on the beach, you know. And I don't really know. And it was like when I felt just so awful, like just anxiety and fear, and I didn't have any money, and I didn't know where to sleep at night. I mean, it was just so, I just felt so bad. Then I would just get in my car and drive, sit on the beach, you know. And actually, you know, on that note, I want to read something. So we were talking about in the beginning here, this book that I'm reading right now, that is so, it gives you a feeling of presence reading it, because Rick Rubin, who's a super famous music producer, and most people know who he is, he wrote this incredible book. It's called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And it's about how you are an artist, but it's about being, you know, it's a truly deeply spiritual piece of work. And I'm kind of blown away. But he has a quote.
I love the cover.
Oh, the cover is incredible.
It's brilliant.
It's like
brilliant.
the infinite circle, you know, it's just incredible. It's like the painting of the universe kind of thing, or a drawing of the universe. So it's on page 53. It's called, okay, I'm going to just read it. Okay. There's a reason we are drawn to gazing at the ocean. It is said the ocean provides a closer reflection of who we are. No, a closer reflection of who we are than any mirror. Okay, I'm going to read that again. It is said that the ocean provides a closer reflection of who we are than any mirror. So the reflection that we see of ourselves in the ocean is better than any mirror, because the ocean reflects our soul, right?
So it's
yeah.
Beautiful.
So this is
that's on my
book.
list.
Yeah, that's on your list. So whew, we've covered a lot
today.
That
was very. I just something came up to mind. I had this mindful stress reduction course with 8 quite young people, and this
the
was
MBSR.
The MBSR course, and we were doing one silent, but I modified it because they you know, they couldn't do 2 hours and a half in the regular program, so we kind of reduced it a little bit. But we did.
Wait. You were the teacher of it, or you were taking the class?
Okay. I was the teacher of it. So, and we went out, you know, I have the ocean that side and I have the forest on that side. And it's a huge natural park where you have 3,000 deers going completely free, and you have this little hunt castle that is not used anymore, but it's very, very, you know, it's so beautiful. And do a walking meditation, my guided walking meditations also there, and people just love it. It's like a journey. But I bring these 8 people out, and the young girls, they're from 18 to 22, and they all know each other. And we've done a quite nice process of all this MBSR program. And we come out, and I could see one of the girls, she couldn't bear the nature. It was too overwhelming for her. And the thing is that it's interesting, because I know from the very beginning that something was, you know, that she, you know, you shouldn't do MBSR if you are having a depression, or, you know, if you are early in recovery. And, you know,
Well, I mean, I don't know. They did it. I mean, they did MBSR in hospitals. So I don't know.
yeah,
It
maybe. I
depends.
mean, it depends. I mean, I would say, and I mean, I was taught by Lune, who is exactly under John Kabat-Zinn here in Denmark, and we got recommended, like, when people are too vulnerable, you know, they need to be a little bit more into recovery or awareness to be able to follow the process, you know.
Yeah.
But it was interesting, because I was really, you know, I talked to her afterwards, and she just said, you know, it was too overwhelming. She couldn't be in nature with her breath.
Oh my God.
And, you know, but it was an awakening for me also, that imagine how many young people who also don't have that, that can't access it, because, as you said, you know, it is maybe the most healing tools that is for free also, that you can access wherever you are in the world. Almost, you can find a tree or a flower or whatever, you know, even if you're in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
it's so, I feel so, my heart is heavy.
Yeah, it was. But what I learned from that was, of course, that when I do when then I continue my MBSR courses of the 8 weeks, you know, I have that, you know, they fill out this schedule before, or why do you want to do it, and if they've been practicing any kind of this before and stuff like that. And I actually put in, because I hadn't had that before, what is your relationship to nature, just to know, to tap in, because you know, of course, I helped her and I talked with her afterwards, and she actually, you know, and so it was a learning for me too, of course.
Yeah.
But
Did you find out anything about, like, what it could have been?
No, but she you know, and it was funny, because they were all reading up to exams, so they you know, they feel so much pressure over this time, so much stress. So that was what, you know, she couldn't be present there, because, you know, she had so many other things, and the way she was in the room, it was different for her, because she was feeling the secure, you know, she was feeling a closer space.
Yeah, like the cocoon. Yeah,
exactly. So it was a good learning process for me, but I have never thought that would, you know, I never given that thought.
You thought that it was possible. Yeah,
never.
You never thought it was possible. Yeah,
never. So
it's so interesting that the stress, like, it made it too overwhelming. All the senses.
Yeah. Exactly, all the senses.
Wow, I'm sort of stunned. And I found more quotes, but we can.
I want to hear. I want another quote.
Okay, fine. So this is again from The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rubin. So he has 2 quotes about nature that I'm going to read them. There is so much wisdom in nature that when we notice it, it awakens possibility within us. It is through communing with nature that we move closer to our own nature. The closer we can get to the natural world, the sooner we start realizing that we are not separate. Page 52.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. Cool. Very intense.
How did you get over that book? How did you find the book?
Oh, okay. So this is like,
was that a stupid question?
No. It's my husband would say, Oh, this is so typical, Pernilla, that you
Yeah,
just
yeah. I love it.
come
Love
across.
it.
So it's the same thing with like, the David Hawkins book that I read 13 times and it changed my life. It just showed up in my Amazon feed, right? Like no one recommended that book. It just was there and I clicked on it and I bought it and it's changed my life. So the other day, my 12-year-old, almost 13-year-old daughter, she likes on Saturday or Sunday afternoon, she likes to go into the little town where we live. And we go to like the little matcha place where she likes, and we get acai bowls, and then we walk around, and she likes to go to the bookstore. She likes to read, and she likes to walk around the bookstore, without me. So we go into this big bookstore, which is busier than it's ever been. I feel like post-COVID, people want to go to a bookstore now. They want to touch books. They want to look around. They don't want to just order from Amazon anymore. They want to go. So it's packed there on the weekends. And I'm on my side of the bookstore and she's on the other side because she's looking through like the teen section or whatever. And I just sort of like when I'm in there, I just walk around and I look and I feel and I look. And this is the only book that I picked up just randomly, right? Of all the books, there's like 1,000 books laid out on these giant tables. I think, probably what caught my was the image. Yeah. But of course, it's
So
just
it
so
was not
typical.
saying bestseller here.
No, it
number
was
one.
with a bunch of other books on a table.
Wow.
Typical stuff. So, because I think it's
That's
funny now.
amazing.
And then, of course, I spoke to my spiritual teacher, Abdi Asadi, and it was like the day after, and I was like, yeah, I picked up this book. It's by Rick Rubin, and he's like, I read that book. And of course we agreed that like it's like a very it's a fully awake work. It's incredible. So anyway, it's just funny how these things work. But okay, I just wanted to get back to one thing before so we have a few minutes left, because you brought up in the very beginning something that we just sort of talked about quickly and moved on. Oops, there's my phone. Which was Holosync.
Yeah.
So you brought it up really fast, and then we were talking about the quiet mind, the stressful mind, and then you said something about Holosync, and then you said it's helped you. You've been doing it for like 9 months now or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. 9 months.
So okay, so basically Holosync is a scientific audio tool, I would say. In Awakening 101 on the wheel, it would fall under meditation, even though it is a science. It's not something it's not like traditional meditation, right? So what it is that you listen to, it's brain entrainment, and a lot of people know what that is now. Like, it's basically the idea is that you listen to tones that go into the left side of your brain and the right side of the brain, and they help your brain synchronize, the brain hemisphere synchronization. Because what happens with our brains over time, like I feel like when we're born, and we talked about this last time, our brain is in sync. And then because the left brain is the way it is and the right brain is the way it is, over time they get out of alignment or out of sync. And it's from like emotion, negative emotion, trauma, and we get out of sync, and the left brain can be so very dominant, which it is for me. I mean, I can be like an obsessed to-do list maniac, So I started Holosync. So basically it's a tool. So it's a soundtrack. You have serious headphones that, I have the ones that they make, because you have to make sure that the left, the track, the part of the audio that is for the left side of the brain has to go into the left ear, and the part of the audio that's for the right side of the brain has to go into the right ear. So I'm super anal about having all the technology that they recommend. And I've been listening, and all you hear is like rain and bells, right? So I started listening to this when I had postpartum depression and insomnia in 2009, because you know, I had a therapist that recommended it, and so somehow I started trying it, and I would listen to it while lying in shavasana while my daughter took a nap in the middle of the day, and I started feeling different right away. I would describe it as in it was like you flush a toilet of your negative emotion, right? And I would go into like a sort of like a mini dream state, and I would come out of this hour, because it's a full hour. I'm sorry, everybody, that it's an hour, but that's what it is. And I would feel like refreshed. I would have maybe dozed off for a few minutes, and I felt like I cleared my head of the clutter, because that's what it does. It like
It's clear.
all the anxiety and all the negative emotion, all the resentment for like an hour, it just sort of puts you into the healing state. Like it's like the delta or the theta brainwave state, because that's what it does. It takes you through alpha, beta, and it takes you into the parasympathetic healing state. So I started doing it, and I noticed a difference right away. Do you have anything in the background that
No,
any books that you,
I have it. I have it
it's
somewhere.
a Bill Harris's
Yeah.
book? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I got it from you, honey.
yeah, of course. Yeah. So there it is. Yeah. It's a great book. He's a little bit crazy, and he passed away, but
Yeah.
he really discovered something really powerful. So
I
I
love
would
it.
say,
I read the book. I really, yeah.
yeah. So I would say for me, it's a tool that you don't have to work towards. Like it's not as hard as meditation, right?
No,
It's longer, but you don't have to do anything. You just put the
no, you
sound
just
on.
put the head, yeah, put the sound on,
Yeah.
and
Basically,
then
what they say is that, oh, you know, it's like the work of like a Buddhist monk, like being really clear, meditating with a clear mind, and it's working your meditation muscle for you.
Mhm.
So it's not like you're focusing on the breath or using a mantra or like really using meditation techniques to get to a clear mind. It takes work to do all that, and it takes years to get to a place where you feel comfortable. Holosync does it all for you. It trains your mind to be able to meditate. So for me, and I'm a crazy person, so I've been doing both regular meditation and Holosync for years, right? I do both of them because I feel like the ability that I have to meditate now, and this is after 15 years of meditation, has the ability that I have to meditate is completely changed because of Holosync. And and I tell this to people that I don't listen to it during the day because I just don't have the time to sit with it for an hour. I listen to it early in the morning. So
Mhm.
when you get to our age, like Louise and
Mhm.
I, you wake up early.
You mean 25?
So that's when I put it on. And that was actually recommended to me by the Holosync people. I was like, they said a lot of people with busy lives, like children or whatever, they listen to it. Like you wake up and you pee in the middle of the night. And I put it on and I go back to sleep, and it's doing the work in my brain while I'm sleeping.
That's what I like when you said that to me. That's why, I know that you introduced it to many, but I think that, when you said just put it on, when you wake up around 4 or 3:30, I think that's, and it is, the clarity I wake up with,
Yeah.
when I, oh, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
And it's also, it's like, it's for beginning meditators, beginning spiritual path, beginning anything, right?
Mhm.
And it's also for heavy duty meditators because it helps everything,
Yeah.
and it just changes the way your mind is able to receive
Hmm.
the information that it's receiving, or receive the present moments. So, and I know that it's a tool. I mean, it's based on bells and tones, and but we listen to sound Himalayan singing bowls, and we do listen. Like people are like understand these frequency. There's like in Spotify, there's a million different like
Hmm.
here, listen to this. It's like a heart chakra vibration, and
Hmm.
it works.
Hmm.
So
Crystal vibration, yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is like that if you don't have time to do anything else and you feel like shit, try this. Because and I mean, I'm not pushing it. I don't know.
Just keep listening to us, and then you will feel better too.
I don't know. Or just more overwhelmed. Like they're like, it's way too much information. I don't know where to start. These people are crazy.
Oh, we are crazy, but
yeah, we're
that's
just
okay.
trying to give tidbits of
we're just human beings.
Yeah,
Right?
are we?
Yeah, well, we're not elephants though.
Oh no.
Even though they say that each human being relates to an animal.
Yeah.
That that you have,
And I'm a horse.
Are you a horse?
Yeah.
And I'm a turtle.
Yeah, because the process is so slow, you mean? Yeah.
Exactly. Because I'm a slow learner,
Yeah.
and but actually that's not really true. I'm a true learner, but I forget very quickly.
Yeah, but that's everybody forgets. I mean, I it's a joke. My kids make fun of me all the time. Like you don't remember anything. Yeah. But so okay, we're almost at an hour, Louise.
Yeah. Okay. So we're wrapping up for this time, knowing that we've been sharing many personal experience today, and we ended up with some talk about Holosync, and I think it is on the website, written a little bit about Holosync, and you will also name it in the podcast, right? So people can
learn about
it, dive into it if they want to.
Okay.
Then I just want to say thank you, and I love you.
I love you too, baby.
You look beautiful.
You look
Thank you,
beautiful
everybody, for listening to us. It means a lot to us that you're joining us too on this journey.
Okay.
So thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Puss, puss.
Puss, puss.